The Joe Rogan Experience.
The Taliban have taken over Afghanistan.
That's a creepy one, huh?
That looks weird.
You see the people falling from the plane?
I did.
That's wild.
It's weird.
People are rushing the plane, trying to get on board, trying to get rescued and taken out of the country. It's like, fuck.
It's so odd. I was having a conversation with friends just yesterday, and I was saying, I literally had forgotten. I was like, why was the U.S. in Afghanistan again? Like it had been so long. I was literally trying to remember what the initial reason for going in there was.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm no foreign policy expert and not going to pretend to be, but it seems very obvious that the way they withdrew was crazy, and leaving all the weapons and ammunition and vehicles and stuff like that for the Taliban to just come and scoop up.
If one was a legit conspiracy theorist, like a real tinfoil hatter, you would look at this and go, this is probably the best way to ensure the support of a reinvasion. Like, leave a bunch of weapons behind, make the whole thing disastrous, have the Taliban take over the entire country in a short period of time, start executing women mayors, do all the crazy shit that they're probably going to do, and then, have some real public outcry.
So weird. I still get people who are confused as to why I do not generally trust the government, and I don't know how many examples I need to pull out from recent times and from further history to just be like, look, whether this is malice or it's incompetence or with some things it doesn't matter. All right, whether it's malice or incompetence.
Incompetence in anything.
But with certain things I'm like, how can it be? Like, it's so obvious, right? It's so obvious what is going to happen in a certain situation, and then you do it anyway. And I don't understand that. One person can be incompetent, but it's like, it's not just one person who makes all these ideas. They've got actual people who are supposed to be experts and advisors, et cetera. I mean, you even had people in the media last month, right? And the media is pretty friendly towards Joe Biden here for the most part. And people in the media are saying, hey, if you do this, aren't the Taliban going to just take over everything?
He's like, no.
And he's like, no.
No, there's 300,000 Afghanistan armed soldiers, only 75,000 Taliban. Meanwhile, they took it over in a day.
They just did it, yeah.
Yeah, and there was no gunshots fired.
No.
I just think the whole thing's a disaster. This nation building idea is a disaster, and Afghanistan itself has never been a traditional country in the sense of like a central leadership. It's basically, for most of history, has been run by warlords.
Yeah.
It's like warlords that controlled regions.
Here's a question, Joe. This is something I wonder about a lot, both on an individual level and on a nation level. How much and at what point should, say, a country get involved with the affairs of another one?
It's a good question. Well, it should be probably we should have levels of atrocity that are intolerable, right? Where it's like Nazi Germany type levels. But if that's the case, why are we not invading North Korea? Because North Korea, if you talk to Wyoming Park or any of the people that have escaped from North Korea, it's essentially a form of Holocaust. There's people that are in concentration camps. They've lived their whole lives there. Their children will be born there. There's people that are starving to death. There's people that are cannibalizing people. It's a weird, fucked up, horrific situation over there.
Yeah.
And there's no plan to do anything about it.
Yeah.
But yet we keep talking about doing things in the Middle East. And there's a lot of resources in the Middle East that may or may not be a motive to being there. One of them is drugs. It's up until the invasion of Afghanistan. I mean, I'm not sure what the number is now, but Afghanistan, once we invaded, I think they were the supplier of 94% of the world's opium.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, the fucking United States troops were guarding poppy fields because these people that were there, that was their main way of making a living. and the U.S. troops were guarding the poppy fields. It's fucking crazy. Let's find out what the actual number is as of today. But I believe that. I think that was the number at one point in time, that 94% of the world's opium supply was from Afghanistan.
Afghanistan specifically, wow.
There's also a massive supply of minerals, of conflict minerals, ironically. In 2014, the estimated opium production was 6,400, what is an MT? Yet in 2017, production climbed to a new record of 9,000 MT. Result of a drought. These levels of production are enough to supply most of the world's opiate markets.
Wow.
It's a study from the Brookings.edu.
Metric tons. That's what it is.
Okay, there you go.
Okay. 2007, Afghan opium production climbed to what was then seen as a staggering 8,200 metric tons. Interesting. In 2018... climbed to a new record of 9,000 metric tons, then falling to, in 2018 to 6,400 metric tons. Massive amounts of opium.
Wow.
Yeah. This is what's crazy. The trafficking, okay, here it is. Estimated the gross value of the Afghan opium economy, including the cultivation of poppy, processing into heroin, and trafficking up to Afghan borders, to be between U.S. $4.1 billion and $6.6 billion in 2017. Wow.
It's so funny seeing those numbers there compared to like these trillions and trillions that they just keep printing. Sounds like nothing. I don't even know how these numbers are just get to a stage where you can't fathom.
What does that mean? It's just like too many zeros.
Yeah.
It's also like, where's that money going? Like if they're making that much money selling heroin, where's it going? Who's getting it? Who's selling it?
I don't know.
Where's it going? How's it getting out of the country? Are you guys watching it? Watch the fields.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on it.
I have no idea, man. The world is such a weird place and always has been. I did listen to that podcast you did with Yeonmi Park, which was amazing. Amazing, by the way.
Yeah, it was
and
wild.
North Korea it blows my mind that here in 2021, with everything, we're doing and whatever, that there's just one country out there that we know like almost nothing about. It's just blacked out, totally disconnected from the world. Virtually everyone, no one's met anyone from there. Virtually no one's been there.
Yeah.
Even if you've been there, you can only go on like a guided tour to like one small part of it. It amazes me that that's a thing. I always just think like, how is that possible, given how interconnected we all are?
And she was saying that if it wasn't for China's support, they wouldn't be able to survive a week.
Yeah.
They would be like China. They need China's support, and that's the reason. And China props them up.
It's so weird. How do you think that? How do you think that will come to an end?
It might not. It might go on for hundreds of years.
I think it will. I think evil always falls eventually.
It does eventually, but what is eventually? If a human lifetime is, if 100 years, if you're lucky, there's been many evil regimes that have lasted longer than that. So, I mean, many, many, many generations of people are going to suffer.
Yeah. It's so odd. I don't know. The world.
They can't do anything about it. The thing is, like, they're starving. They have no access to weapons. The government has full, complete control of them. And when you pass the borders, they have landmines set up. Mm-hmm. So if you're making a run for it, you're going to fucking blow up.
And do you know what's China's interest with keeping or allowing it to stay that way? Is there some benefit to them?
That's a good question.
Because I know that they're propped up by China, but why would China want, why would they want it to stay like that? I don't really understand that.
Well, they probably enjoy the fact that there's a conflict between North and South Korea, as they're both close to each other, and South Korea is allies with the United States. China has their fucking tentacles in so many different things, man. It's wild.
I got some more numbers here for you that help with the Afghan thing. This is from Wiki, but they're from from the Afghan papers, I think, is where a lot of this information came from.
As of 2017, opium production provides about 400,000 jobs in Afghanistan. More than the Afghan National Security Forces, the opium trade spiked in 2006 after the Taliban lost control of the local warlords.
Right here, 93%.
Yeah. 93% of the non-pharmaceutical grade opiates of the world market originated in Afghanistan.
Yeah, more land is used in Afghanistan to grow for opium than cocoa cultivation in all of Latin America.
Wow. I did not know this.
Yeah.
I never linked Afghanistan with huge amounts of
man.
opiates.
It's in a Sturgill Simpson song. We're repeating what happened in the Vietnam War, right? In the Vietnam War, that was a big part of what the Vietnam War was all about, was the heroin trade. That's what's going on here, man.
Yeah.
It's like it's got to be a factor. This idea that it's not a factor of why we're there and that some fucking scumbag is not profiting off of this, for sure it is. There's no way they're not. I mean, if these are the same people that paid Barry Seals to run coke over from South America and drop it into Mena, Arkansas, you don't think that they would be making money over in Afghanistan?
No, I do, man. I believe that every government is corrupt.
They're going to make a documentary about the poppies. They're going to have to. Someone, now that we're out of Afghanistan, someone is going to make a documentary about the heroin trade, and people are going to fucking blow their wig off. They're going to be like, what? Watch the entire episode for free only on Spotify.